Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this exclusive in-depth report from Alex Adam. Tonight, we bring you a story that is rewriting the rules of modern warfare, a conflict that began with overwhelming force but has now flipped the script in ways no one could have predicted. After the United States and Israel launched their joint military operation against Iran, the world expected a swift and decisive outcome. Yet, from the very first moments of that campaign, Iran has stood unbreakable. No strategy, no pressure, no combination of power has been able to stop them. Instead of victory, the attackers have found themselves trapped in a nightmare of their own making. Missile after missile, rocket after rocket launched not only by Iran but by its steadfast allies have rained down with devastating precision. The United States and Israel are reeling. What was meant to be a crushing blow has turned into a punishing ordeal. Cities shaken, supply lines shattered, morale crumbling. The very forces that came to defeat Iran are now fighting for survival, taking blow after blow that they simply cannot absorb. And on the ground, Israel has been forced into repeated retreats, every advance met with fierce resistance, every push forward answered with overwhelming firepower, one step forward, two steps back that has become the painful rhythm of this war for Tel Aviv. While the world watches in stunned silence, the once confident coalition is now struggling just to hold its positions. In Washington, the tone has shifted dramatically. President Donald Trump, facing mounting pressure at home and abroad, has begun reaching out urgently to global powers. Russia, China, and several other major nations have received direct appeals. Help us convince Iran to stand down. The message is clear. The United States is ready to talk, ready to de-escalate, ready to find an exit. But those requests carry an unmistakable undertone of desperation. The superpower that entered this conflict with supreme confidence is now asking others to intervene on its behalf. Yet Iran has shown zero interest in compromise. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the iron fist of Tehran's defense, has rejected every ceasefire proposal with ironclad resolve. "We will not spare anyone," has been their consistent message. Their warriors have even issued a chilling warning. They are fully prepared to sustain this full-scale war for more than 6 months if necessary, 6 months of unrelenting pressure, 6 months of missiles, drones, and strategic strikes that could reshape the entire region. That is the level of determination coming out of Tehran. Behind the scenes, however, intense diplomatic maneuvering has been taking place. Russia has emerged as a key bridge. President Vladimir Putin first held direct talks with President Trump. Then, in a highly significant follow-up call, Putin spoke personally with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. The topic on every line: ceasefire, peace, and end to the bloodshed. Still, Iran remained unmoved. Another round of high-level discussions was quickly arranged, this time involving Pakistan as a trusted mediator alongside Russia. The world held its breath. Would Tehran finally blink? Then came the moment that shocked everyone. In a stunning reversal that no one saw coming, Iran has announced it is ready to stop the fighting. Yes, you heard that correctly. After months of defiance, after rejecting every previous offer, Tehran has signaled its willingness to accept a ceasefire. And this is the crucial part, it comes with unbreakable conditions. Iran is not surrendering. Iran is dictating terms. President Masoud Pezeshkian has laid out 3 clear, non-negotiable demands. First and foremost, full compensation for every single loss Iran has suffered during this conflict. The destruction caused by the planned attacks ordered by President Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu must be paid for in full. Every damaged facility, every civilian impact, every strategic asset hit. Iran expects complete reparations. No vague promises, no partial settlements. Real, tangible compensation that reflects the true cost of this aggression. Second, the international community must formally recognize Iran's legitimate and rightful nuclear rights. For years, Tehran has maintained that its nuclear program is peaceful and sovereign. Now, in the wake of this war, Iran is demanding that the world stops treating those rights as negotiable. Full, unambiguous acknowledgement on the global stage. That is what Tehran insists upon. And third, perhaps the most vital for long-term security, ironclad guarantees that no future attacks will ever be launched against Iran again, not by Israel, not by the United States, not by any coalition. Strong, enforceable assurances that this kind of aggression will never be repeated. Iran wants the world to promise, in writing, and with real mechanisms, that its sovereignty will be respected from this day forward. These are not suggestions, these are conditions. President Pezeshkian has been crystal clear in every conversation with Russian and Pakistani mediators. Accept these 3 points, and the guns can fall silent. Reject them, and the war continues. In his statements, President Pezeshkian has left no room for doubt about who bears responsibility for this entire crisis. He has pointed directly at the Zionist regime in Israel and the United States as the primary instigators. According to Tehran, this conflict was never about self-defense. It was a calculated provocation designed to weaken Iran. That is why, throughout the mediation talks, Iran has refused to soften its core position even by an inch. The message to Moscow and Islamabad has been consistent. We are open to peace, but only on terms that protect our dignity, our rights, and our future. Now the ball is squarely in the court of Washington and Tel Aviv. Will President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu accept these three historic conditions? Will they agree to pay compensation, recognize nuclear rights, and provide lasting security guarantees? Or will pride and politics push them toward continued confrontation? This is the question that will define the coming days, perhaps even the coming weeks. One wrong move, one rejected demand, and the missiles could fly again. But if these conditions are met, we could witness the end of one of the most intense conflicts in recent memory. A war that began with thunderous strikes has now reached a moment of fragile possibility. Let us analyze this extraordinary development for a moment. Iran's willingness to pause the fighting after demonstrating such overwhelming defensive strength sends a powerful signal to the entire world. It shows that Tehran is confident enough in its position to negotiate from strength rather than weakness by demanding compensation, recognition, and guarantees. Iran is not just ending a war, it is reshaping the rules of engagement for the entire Middle East. The involvement of Russia and Pakistan as mediators adds another layer of complexity. Putin's direct engagement, especially after speaking with both Trump and Pezeshkian, proves that major powers are desperate to prevent this conflict from spiraling into something even larger. Pakistan's role similarly highlights how regional players are stepping up to fill diplomatic gaps that traditional powers have left open. For the United States and Israel, accepting these terms would represent a massive strategic retreat. Paying reparations and acknowledging Iran's nuclear rights would be historic concessions. Yet continuing the war now carries even greater risks: mounting casualties, economic strain, and the very real possibility of a prolonged 6-month-plus campaign that Iran has already prepared for. Whatever happens next, one thing is certain: the balance of power in this region has shifted. Iran has proven it cannot be broken by force. It has forced the world's attention onto its demands, and it has turned what many expected to be a quick victory for its adversaries into one of the most costly and unpredictable conflicts in modern history. We will continue to monitor every development, every statement, every diplomatic move, because in this story, the next chapter could change everything. Time, as always, will deliver the final answer. This report has been brought to you by Alex Adam.